I want to welcome everybody here, and I think it's the biggest crowd we've ever had. I also like the idea that the coaches at Illinois College, the present-day coaches, were invited, and they came and they brought one of their students with them. And I think this is a great idea. I wish we'd have done this earlier, but I certainly am glad to see everybody here. And I know that the people that are being inducted in the Sports Hall of Fame will be very happy with their awards. We've changed that, by the way. We used to give the plaque, which is the same as the one that is in Tanner, and this year we're giving a trophy-like deal, which will sit on somebody's desk, and it's much easier to display. I know I have one at home, and I can't find it. It's somewhere, but anyway, I think this is a great idea, and there have been several other changes made, and I think they're all for the better. And I commend the people at Illinois College, the athletic director, the sports information director, for doing the work that they have done. The first inductee into the Illinois College Sports Hall of Fame is Dick Barnes. Now, I know Dick Barnes well. I played with him on the basketball team in the middle 50s. He was here right out of high school. We had a very good team, Dick. You remember that. We won a lot of games, and Dick was a very good player. Then I graduated, and he left for a while, and Dickie come back and played football. I know him well in football because I was one of the two football coaches that we had in those days, and Dickie was very good. Fact is, I would have to say that he's one of the best all-around athletes that Illinois College had in the years that I've been associated with Illinois College. He started a little bit more about what he's done. He played football, basketball, baseball, and was a pole vaulter in track. And in those days, you could play baseball and then go over and pole vault. We had other people who did things similar to that, but never anyone who was as good as Dick was. When he returned to Illinois College in 1963, he was a defensive back. And as I recall, he had several interceptions and did a very good job as a defensive back. And he was 28 years old at that time, which I can almost remember when I was 28. Anyway, yeah, he had 3 interceptions in a game against the University of Chicago at Navy Pier. We used to go up there and play them on Navy Pier, out on Navy Pier. It was a great experience. Stayed in the YMCA, and Joe Brooks always said that somebody asked him how the rooms were at the YMCA, and he said, well, they're a little tight. I had to go out in the hall to change my mind. Anyway, it is a real pleasure to ask Dickie to come forward and to welcome him into the Illinois College Sports Hall of Fame. Dick Barnes.
Thank you, Bill. You're a good man. Well, I haven't got much to say because Mike Snyder told me to limit my talking. And I told him earlier, it's a good thing I'm not on vodka because that makes my lips real loose. But this is one of the best things that's ever happened in my lifetime. And I had a good friend of mine that just passed away by the name of Farrell Mitchell. And he told me one time when we were up at the Elks Club, he said, Barn, he said, there's only 3 things in life that you really need. And he said, it's family, friends, and health. And I have been blessed with all 3. And this is really an honor for me to be up here, because I played ball with a lot of guys over the years, and I'm only going to tell one story. And the other guy that was in this twosome is here tonight. And this was when I came back to play football in '63. And I hate to say it, but there were some retards on the team. And one of them was, I played defensive back, and Bill Bean played the defensive back on the other side. And Joe Brooks said, boys, this is the way we're going to block extra points. We were both fairly fast. So we're going to put them on the get you guys on the outside, and then you come in and block the extra point. So they go ahead and hike the ball, and we take off running, and we both dive in the air at the same time and hit each other in the head. And we both get up, and I think that's where the first part of concussions came into that, because Bill is still suffering. But anyway, this really is a good honor, and I want to thank my friends for coming to this, and I want to thank special thanks to Gary Curtis and Bill Maris for helping me be able to stand up here tonight and talk to you and be a part of this. And I just want to thank Illinois College for being Illinois College. Thank you.
It is a pleasure to welcome Dickie Barnes into the Illinois College Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Billy Boy. Thank you.
Dickie, I was playing baseball with Dickie up in, I promise not to tell too many stories, but they come to me and Anyway, Dickie was playing, he played the outfield in baseball, and at Eureka College, the track, they had it, it was a cinder track, ran around the outfield there. And Dickie was fast, and he'd chase down anything. And he went for this ball and dove for it. You see the guys today dive for it, but he dove for it and dove through those cinders. And I remember they took him to the hospital, and they took a brush, a real kind of a stiff brush, to clean those things, the cinders out of his arm. But Dickie, good job, Dick, and you gave it all for good old Illinois College. Heather Jonasson Bergstedt, class of '05, a 4-year starter for the IC volleyball program. Heather was twice named All Midwest Conference, including first team honors in her senior year of 2004. In her final season for the Lady Blues, she was also named COSIDA Academic All-American. To this day, she ranks as one of the top volleyball talents at Illinois College, having become one of the 5 players all time to reach 1,000 kills for her career. Heather, would you come forward, please?
Thank you so much for that introduction, Bill, and I truly appreciate being here among so many outstanding people tonight. As we mingled at the beginning of this function, it was just so great to see people from so many different classes and ages and different functions of their life now all joining together. It's wonderful. It's an honor to be included today in the IC Hall of Fame. along with all these other inductees tonight, as well as past and future inductees. Some of the past is sitting at my table tonight, so it's wonderful just to catch up. Oftentimes, I find myself thinking back to my time at IC, and I'm always overwhelmed by the fond memories and emotions that I had about that time. After I was notified about the Hall of Fame nomination, and as tonight's event approached, I found myself reflecting back to my days at IC more frequently and in a little bit more depth than I may have recently. I thought back to the entire college search and selection process that all students go through, and I reminded myself how and why I chose IC at the very beginning of this journey. I remembered visiting and just falling in love with the campus. All of the classrooms and housing and athletics being so intimate, the intimate nature of the setting here was just very attractive to me. I believed it would provide an environment of inclusion and a way for me to just be involved in so many different parts of the community. Not only was the campus inviting, but the people, faculty, staff, and the current students were so welcoming and friendly the entire time. During one of my visits, I had the opportunity to meet with the volleyball coach at the time, Coach Candy West. Coach West's positive attitude and upbeat personality were infectious. I could sense her desire to excel on the volleyball court and off the volleyball court, but still have fun while doing so. She also spoke to me about the importance of balancing academics and athletics while being in college. And she gave me the confidence that I would be able to do that as long as I worked hard and was dedicated. I felt so comfortable in my surroundings when I was on campus and with the people that I met. Then, as I started reflecting on my 4 years actually on campus after making that selection, all of my hopes and expectations were not only met but exceeded. The feelings I experienced during my visits were confirmed and true representations of the IC community and the values that it had. I found opportunities to form lifelong friendships, continued success in the classroom, and I balanced my studies with playing with a top-notch Lady Blues volleyball team. The time I spent participating in volleyball-related activities, whether it be on the track during our start of the season 3-a-day practices, which always seemed to fall on the hottest day in August, in a van on our way to and from games, or on the court during practice and matches, it was all worthwhile. With the support of the coaching and athletics staff, and especially my teammates, I was pushed to be the best athlete I could be and improve each and every day at practice. Watching my teammates' dedication and work ethic pushed me even harder to try my best so I didn't let anyone down. With the support of the coaching staff and my professors, I was able to balance the responsibilities of academics and athletics to be the best student athlete I could be. And then with the support of my family, especially my mother and father, Bernadine and Daryl Jonasson, who are here today, I felt love, encouragement, and commitment that allowed me to know that trying my best was enough to make those people close to me proud. And quickly, speaking about commitment and my family, I do need to talk about my dad really briefly. I want to highlight what I mean by true commitment. It was a value that he exhibited and taught me over the years. He arranged his entire work schedule and all of his vacation time so that he could attend every single match the Lady Blues had on their schedule, all 4 years I was part of the program. He was a diehard fan, driving all over the country to be there, supporter of every player on the team, cameraman who taped every single game so we had access if we wanted to watch it at a later time, and most importantly, my #1 cheerleader. He was always front and center in the stands, reminding me to take a deep breath before my serves, just in case I would miss. Knowing that I would see my dad's face in the crowd helped ease any nerves and anxiety I had before games and truly allowed me to perform at my best. Seeing the commitment that he had toward me and my team was a perfect example for me for the commitment I needed to show the team and the organization. Every time I stepped on the court to represent IC and the Lady Blues athletic program, I felt pride and honor. To be recognized tonight for accomplishments I was able to achieve while having fun, playing a sport that I absolutely love and still play till this day, in an environment that fostered success is simply amazing. I feel incredibly honored and blessed to be here tonight and to have been part of a community that I truly believe to be an extension of both my family and my home. Thank you.
Dan Cliburn. Dan, of course, was an outstanding wrestler. He excelled both athletically and academically during the time on the hilltop. He won more than 100 career matches on the mats for the IC wrestling team at the 126 and 134 weight class. In his sophomore, junior, and senior season, Cliburn won Midwest Conference title in his respective weight and advanced to the NCAA championship. As a junior and senior, he was named Academic All-American, and he took home the Downer Award as Illinois College top male student athlete. That Downer Award, I was going to mention it later, but it's a letterman in each sport who's academically the highest in that sport. So Dan is certainly welcome, a top person as far as the wrestling field is concerned at Illinois College, and at this time I'd like for him to come forward.
So first of all, I'd like to thank the selection committee. This really is a tremendous honor. It's the first time I've been to campus in 15 years, and it's bringing back just a ton of wonderful memories from my time here. 23 years ago, I was a high school senior. I grew up in Indiana. I was planning to go to Purdue University and be an engineer, and towards the end of my senior year, I just got this crazy dream that I wanted to be a college wrestler. So my dad took me on a tour of some Midwest colleges that had wrestling teams, and the last stop was Illinois College. And I don't know how many of you know Coach Rowland here, but 10 minutes with TR, and this was the place that I was going to come to school and be a wrestler. So yeah, I have a ton of great stories about my time wrestling here under TR. I'll just tell you two quick ones. So my freshman year, we were getting ready to go on one of our first road trips up to North Central College, and don't remember exactly how this all worked out, but we had two vans for the trip, and TR and our assistant coach Brian Lee and all of the upperclassmen got in one van. And as they were getting ready to leave, the assistant coach said to the rest of us, the freshmen and sophomores, one of whom had permission to drive the van, "We'll meet you guys there." And then they took off, and they left, and we kind of looked at each other, and they said, "Does anybody know where there is?" And after some discussion, we decided, well, it must be at the wrestling meet in Naperville and North Central. Well, they met at TR's house here in South Jacksonville, but we jumped in the van and we took off to Chicago. The freshmen and sophomores on the team, and this was the days before the internet where you could just Google how to get there. So we stopped at a rest stop and looked at a map of Illinois to get some directions, and then we stopped at a gas station in Chicago. And eventually we made it to North Central, where there was no team. But one of the coaches from North Central said, "Are you the guys from Illinois College?" Yeah. The coaches said to stay here and don't go anywhere else. And so eventually TR, the rest of the team got there. I remember the assistant Brian Lee saying, "How stupid are you guys?" But TR did forgive us and let us wrestle, and that was one of my first road trips. My other real memory, the first time I won the conference, I actually got knocked out in the match, and I was out cold for a while. And I don't remember a lot of the details of this match because I had a concussion, but I do remember kind of coming to, and TR putting his arm around me and saying, "Come on, you got to pull it together here. I think the official's going to disqualify you," because apparently I'd just been laying there on the mat for about 3 minutes. So act like you know what's going on. He lets go of me, and I completely collapse right back onto the mat. So at this point, I think the official's about to say, well, he can't continue. But fortunately, my dad was there, and he ran out of the stands and said, "He's okay." And they let me finish, and I had been ahead, but I kind of fell behind. I didn't know what was going on, and I remember saying a prayer, "Please, dear God, help me remember how to wrestle." And the good Lord came through, and I won the match at the very end, somehow amazingly, and that was my first trip to nationals. So,
Barbara, that's not true.
So TR, thank you for all the time you spent with me here. This was just a wonderful place to be. Some of the best years of my life were here. I met my wife of almost 20 years here. We got married before our junior year. We actually lived in Crampton Hall in the apartment there as an assistant hall director. So our first year of marriage, it was me, my wife, and about 70 other guys in Crampton Hall. Is a great way to, I guess, start our marriage off. And we're still together, so things are going well. My experience here prepared me very well for life. I really love this place, and I'm very thankful for the education that I received here. I also want to thank my parents for their love and their support financially and just through my athletic career and giving me the opportunity to ultimately be here tonight. So thank you to everyone.
Only at Illinois College. You know, some of you may not realize, but Illinois College had very good wrestling teams at one time. I remember Dan as one of the better ones, and before we dropped the program, we always had somebody who went to the state or went to a final tournament. Don Coates, class of 47, a four-sport athlete for the Blue Boys. Don Coates suited up for the baseball, basketball, football, and track and field teams during his time at Illinois College. The co-captain of the Blue Boys basketball team left to serve in the U.S. Army during World War II. He returned to the Hilltop after the war to fulfill his degree requirements and serve as co-captain of the baseball team. Coates later became a teacher and principal and coached baseball and basketball in Maine for 7 years. His sister, Pam Painter, will come up and accept the award.
If you do the math, I'm a daughter, not a sister. Okay. I'm here in behalf of my father, not because of my father's health, but because of my mother's health. And he felt that he needed to be in Maine and not come back to the Hilltop. But he enjoyed his time here immensely. And I want to thank the committee on his behalf for this honor. He's ecstatic. And if he were here, he would tell you many, many stories. But I'm going to tell you a couple, but I do want to tell you that he was a 1939 graduate of Carrollton High School. And with the encouragement of Dr. Bone, he came to Illinois College and considers himself the class of 1943. He was 4 years in the Army. That's why he's the class of 47. But he's approaching 95 years old. And he and my mother lived together in their home without assistance and have been married 71 years. Accomplishment. He went to Maine. My mother is from Maine and has never lived anywhere but the state of Maine. He graduated and then became a teacher. He was a history major and also an economics major. After he was a teacher, he became a principal and then a superintendent and then a professor of education at the University of Maine. He also was the acting dean of the College of Education at the University of Maine, and like Coach Maris here, supervised student teachers. So he's been in education for over 50 years, and he is the oldest, although retired, administrator, superintendent in the state of Maine at this time. He loved Illinois College, and as I said, he just talked about it all the time, and our grandchildren can attest to the fact that he told story after story after story. And I was never sure until I found some documentation whether those stories were really true. One of the stories that he tells quite often is the way that he received his track letter. And I think, like Dick, he was a pole vaulter. And the coach of the baseball team knew that he had pole vaulted for Carrollton High School. So while playing baseball, and I believe his position was somewhere in the outfield, center field, the track meet was going on at the same time. And Illinois College was about to win a place in the meet, or even win the meet, and they called my dad out of the baseball field, off the baseball field. I thought they at least gave him a track uniform, but he, in his baseball uniform, pole vaulted and placed, and because he placed, Illinois College won or placed in the meet, and he was given his track letter. And that's the only event in track that he ever participated in. So, his other story is a football game against Carthage, and I'm not even sure, I should have listened better to all these stories, what position he played, but the coach at that time said, "Hey, Coates, get in there and kick the extra point to win the game." And my dad had never been a kicker, but he went into the game, kicked the extra point, and Illinois College won the game. So if anybody wanted oral history, he is your go-to person. He's very sharp, which I am very thankful for. His mind is very good. As I said, he loves this college. If he had lived in this area, you would have seen him at every basketball game, every football game, every track event, every basketball game. I think I said that, but all of the games, baseball, everything. Instead, he found his niche to do that at the University of Maine. He helped with timing track events. He helped in the hockey arena as an usher. He helped in football. He helped in baseball. He helped in basketball. And I might say that Moose Laverdier, Bob is his real name, I think, ran the Zamboni at the University of Maine. And he's an Illinois College graduate, a little bit younger than I am. So my dad always encouraged his students to come to Midwest colleges, and he still does that. He also advocates for sports. So I do thank you very much on his behalf, and he would have loved to have been here. So thank you.
She said something about Moose Laverdier. You know, he played football here. Some of you people may have played with Moose. The thing I remember about him is that if you gave a piece of equipment to anybody, Moose was there. He wanted the same thing. And I don't blame him, but that was Moose. Jim Downer. Boy, I could say a lot about Jim Downer. We worked together for years. He was one of my best recruiters. He and a couple other people sitting here in the same category, and they helped me tremendously during the years that he was at Illinois College. He went with us on a lot of the basketball trips when I didn't have an assistant coach, and helped us. And I really always felt that he was a friend of mine, and he was a very good employee of Illinois College. I mentioned the Downer Award earlier, and his family and him started this award where the top letter winner in each sport academically gets this award. But Jim was a 4-year starter for the Illinois College baseball team, served as co-captain in 1966, and he was selected to the all-conference team. While his athletic accomplishments, you know, Jim had a lot to do with the starting of this organization. He and some other people, I know we talked about it a lot, of starting this program in the 1980s, 84, I think about when it was. And Jim really was one of the founders of the Illinois College Sports Hall of Fame. And he served as Director of Admissions at Illinois College from 73 to 81 and as Vice President of Institutional Advancement. They've changed that name a lot here. It used to be different than that, Jim. Anyway, from 1981 to 86, he was it was in his VP role that he helped co-found this Sports Hall of Fame. So at this time, I'd like for Jim Downer to come forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really don't know what to say. This is unbelievable. To think, well over 30 some odd years ago, we decided to put together a Sports Hall of Fame, and all of a sudden, 30 years later, being inducted into it is just, it's incredible. Believe me, it really is. So happy to see Charlie and Buford here tonight. They were part of the original group that we got together. I'm going to digress for just a second. I want to tell a quick story on Coach Maris and myself. This happened while I was in school. Now, I was a baseball player, and again, it was just Bill and Joe that were the coaches, but you kind of leaned one way. If you were in basketball, you were with Bill. If you were in football, you were with Joe. If you're in baseball, you were with Joe. But, I mean, they knew you. Maybe not as well as if you played for them. So I was on an IM team, Gamma News IM team, and we had a great team our junior year. I could shoot the ball. I didn't do a whole lot of other things with basketball, I don't think, and I think my son gets that from me, that he didn't like to play defense and things along those lines. But I could shoot the ball. As a freshman and as a sophomore, I led the IMs with well over 20 points a game. Believe me, this isn't bragging. I'll get to the story. It gets better. So we were going to have a fairly decent IM team my junior year. Well, our pledges pull a prank, and the next thing you know, we don't have a IM basketball team. They had gone down and we would ask them to get some soap for a scavenger hunt, and they decided to pull it out of a laundromat. Now, I'm not sure whoever gave them that idea, but it was not a good idea at all. So anyway, they were all put on social probation. Jimmy Cox, who was, I'm sure I can make Jimmy bigger than he was, but to me, he seemed like he had to be 6'4", 6'5", and at least 255, 260, maybe even bigger. Jimmy was going to play on our IM team. Jimmy was from Bluffs. Jimmy and I wanted to continue to play basketball, and we thought, let's go out for the basketball team. Bill always loses some people that semester, so he could use a couple of bodies. So we're down in the basement of the old gym, and we're planning out how to do this. Well, Jimmy was from Bluffs, and of course, Coach is from Bluffs. And I said, Jimmy, you go down there first, and he's going to like you anyway. I mean, you're big. I mean, he's going to want you to come out. There's not going to be any problem. And then come back and tell me, and then I'll go down.
So Jimmy goes down there, and I mean, it had to be bang. I mean, he didn't seem like he'd even gone down there. And I said, well, what did he say? Oh, sure, I've got no problem. Got no problem whatsoever. And I thought, well, Jimmy just kind of lumbers around the basketball court and everything. He is big, but he doesn't shoot. So I'm thinking, this is going to be great. So I walk into Coach's office, look at him. I said, Coach, I'd like to go out for basketball the second semester. And all of a sudden, he just looked up at me and goes, why? Do you know what that does to a guy that can shoot? And I was stunned. And I figured I had to come up with an answer to why. And I said, well, to get ready for baseball, Coach, to just kind of train for baseball. He said, well, if that's it, that's fine. No problem. Bill and I did share a lot of times together. We recruited together a whole lot. Our wives became very, very good friends. Bill and Marilyn treated our son, Matt, as kind of a little nephew, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you, Bill, so much. I'd also like to thank Dr. Mundinger, who, for whatever reason, in 1976, decided to take a chance on a guy who had gone to Illinois College, had a year of law school. The military grabbed him out of there, sent him off to Vietnam, came back, got a couple more years in the military, came to Jacksonville looking for a job, ended up with the Urban Renewal Project as a dislocation officer down there, throwing people out on the street. So why Dr. Mundinger thought that was a great resume for his new director of admissions, I'll never know. But anyway, I truly cannot thank him enough for giving me such a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. He backed us all the way. He was really into admissions. He wanted to see the college grow. And fortunately, we did set up a foundation for the school to really flourish as it is doing now. He was a great president, a wonderful, wonderful man. He was a great mentor, and he was like a big brother to me. Let me tell you a little bit of a story that kind of swings into this Hall of Fame. We had a retirement for our director of development, and Dr. Mundinger came to me and asked if I would move on up with development. And I said, well, that's fine. I said, what's my responsibilities? He said, well, in development you're going to be the chief development officer, you've got PR, you've got alumni. Oh, by the way, I don't want you to give up admissions. And it's like, okay. I said, well, I'd be more than happy to do it, but I'm not going to do it with the title of director of development. And he was kind of stunned. Now, this was the problem of being young. You thought you could get away with things, and I guess I did, because he said, well, what are you even thinking of? I said, well, that's the vice president's title. It's just got to be. So he said, well, we don't have vice presidents here. I said, well, you can get them. He said, well, that's true. We can go to the board and they can recommend them. And basically that's what he did. But he said, now you got to remember, it's just not going to be you. The dean's going to be a vice president. The business manager's going to be a vice president. I said, I don't care. That doesn't bother me. So that part was taken over. And then he goes, I've got something for you if you're taking this over. Do you realize how many times you complained about that we didn't have any stands down there at the football field while you were director of admissions? I said, well, probably every other day. He says, well, you now have the job to get that done. And those stands down there that are incorporated into that beautiful building were the stands that we put in there. And off of that, we were very fortunate to find some alumni that had kind of gotten lost a little bit. They were in the 30s. People like Virgil Fletcher and Tony Donnet, Lori Lorenz, Frosty England. These gentlemen wanted to honor their coaches for those stands, and then off of that, this talk about a Hall of Fame kind of developed, and all of a sudden, the next thing we know, in '83 we were putting it together, and in '84 we had our first induction with close to 30 some odd people. And I think, as you can see, it's just flourished ever since. I want to thank the coaches that I was able to work with, Coach Maris, Coach Rowland, Coach Brooks, of course. Can only hope that we brought the kind of student athlete in for you that could help you compete, which I'm sure they did, because out of the first class that we brought in, and that would be the class of '78 that graduated, I believe it's the largest class of inducted Hall of Famers. I think they have something like 9 or 10 people out of that class, and that was the first class that we brought in. I have very wonderful, wonderful staff people. I could name them all and all, but I'm not going to do that. But I am going to point out one, and that's Mark Fresh. Mark was my first hire in '73. He had just graduated from college. And I gave you my kind of background. Mark was from Carrollton with a Spanish major. And it's kind of like, what are these two guys going to be doing to try to get all these students in here with that kind of background? Well, it was a lot of hard work, and it was a lot of time and effort, and we did it. And then we grew our staffs to other people such as Mark Samaras and Mark Strawn. The 3 marks of a great college. Remember Charlie? Charlie put that brochure out, which was great. So Doc, thank you very, very much. You were with me for the first 5 years, and there's no way that I could have ever done it without you. These 3 gentlemen here, along with Greg Bays. Greg and I have kind of an interesting situation. Greg graduated in '74, and I tried to get him on staff, but Mundinger basically said that I had enough, but he said, we could put him on in development. I said, well, yeah, you ought to do that. So in a way, I think I got Greg his first job. He might not think so, but just go along with me, Greg. Okay. But then Greg got me my last over at the Department of Transportation. But what is also interesting in the situation is Greg is my son's father-in-law, which is unbelievable. Some other friends that are here tonight that I want to point out. 2 great guys that were with me as a freshman, Bill Bean, Don Harris, and sitting at the table with them is Don Eldred, who was the Dean of Students at the time in '62, who put us together, which was very, very interesting. And believe me, it was a shock. Those 2 guys from the south side of Chicago and me from Lily White, Springfield over here, you better believe I got a real rude awakening, very much so. I want to thank my former secretary, Susie, who has worked this whole thing through, worked on it. There was no doubt about it, helped Matt with it. I want to thank my wonderful son, Matt, who, without his perseverance, this would have never happened. And last but not least, I want to thank my beautiful, wonderful wife, Kathy, who 3 years ago this month passed away from losing her battle cancer. And I can only tell you, without her understanding, patience, and love, there was no way that I could have ever done this. So, sweetheart, this is for you. Thank you very, very much.
I'll tell you one thing, when he talks about the admissions people, and I throw Rick Bistry in there too, those guys, they certainly were great help. In those days, I didn't have a budget. I couldn't even hardly make a phone call. The fact is, that's a whole different story. But anyway, they certainly helped me a lot, and I appreciate that, and I'm glad to see Jim in the Sports Hall of Fame. Garrett Ingram, class of '03. Garrett Ingram was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2009, along with the rest of the 2002-2003 Illinois College men's basketball team, but now joins the group of celebrated athletes on his own merits. Ingram was a 3-year captain for the Blue Boys and a first-team All-Midwest Conference selection for the team that advanced to the NCAA tournament as Midwest Conference champions in '02 and '03. He ranks 12th all-time in IC history in points, 1,208, and is the all-time program leader in block shots with 210. Would Garrett please come forward?
Well, I'd just like to start off by thanking Illinois College and Coach Worrell, first and foremost. Without the opportunity that was offered to me to come here to Illinois College and receive a high-quality education and play in a well-run athletic program, I wouldn't be in the place I am now in my life, let alone here accepting this great honor. I even met my beautiful wife Mary here at Illinois College, so it's clear I was on a hot streak in my days here on the hilltop. But as lucky as I've been in my life to be in the right place at the right time, I feel like the main reason has been the influence of my dad and my mom. Dick and Susan Ingram never missed a game. Ohio to California, all the trips to Wisconsin. They were there along for the ride the whole way. But in all reality, that was the easy part for them. That was the payoff for doing it the right way for the first 20 years. With 3 boys of our own now, Mary, I realized the hardest part is going to be teaching them to be well-rounded, hardworking, pay attention to detail, to stay grounded, and to keep grinding. Life and sport is all about making the right decisions at the right time. But I still feel like the only reason I've been in the right situations with the ability to make at least a few correct decisions in my life is the job that my parents did in raising my brother and I. The ability to shape a young person into a competitive, yet compassionate, and common sense, yet to possess a little bit of out-of-box thinking, enough to question the path of the crowd at times, and do something a little different in life, had to be a tough one to achieve. I can only hope my wife Mary and I are able to sharpen the same skill set within ourselves in order to achieve the same type of success my parents have had. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I love you guys. On a second note, Coach Worrell is the greatest. I'm so proud to have been part of 2 seasons where Coach Worrell was awarded Midwest Conference Coach of the Year honors. And again, I couldn't have landed in a better spot with a better man that managed to keep us all focused and fiery when we needed to get it going, and calm and in control when we started to lose our spot. Coach always had a knack for sometimes, even with just a look, saying, you know, guys, where you at? Let's pull it together, focus, do your job, let the game come to you, and make the play when it presents itself. And he's also had some of the best sports coat removals. You know, are you kidding me? When often that was exactly what the situation needed, to either get us focused or to work a referee when the referee didn't even know he was about to get worked. Thank you, Coach Worrell, for being the example of how to conduct oneself on and off the floor. Another person I have to thank is Charlie Bellotti. The men's basketball program and the entire college owes Charlie a debt of gratitude for his passion and commitment to the betterment of all of us for 70-plus years. And for taking some of the heat off of Coach Worrell when Coach didn't even need to work the refs because Charlie had it covered. Thank you, Charlie. You have made it a pleasure to be a Blue Boy. I can't leave out the guys we played with here at IC. From the early years, Jim Slade and Jeremy Landsaw toughened us up, showing us how to do things the right way. The core guys that helped us be successful here for an extended run, like Brad Cassing, Matt and Drew Petefish, Chad Tobin, Justin Six, Matt Espensheed, Mark Winland, Charles Dively, and on to Josh Kleiboker and Dylan Dudley, along with a dozen or more guys who are all some of the best guys I've met in my life. Another big turning point in my career I can't leave out is really one I didn't even realize until Coach Worrell brought me in to watch game film post-knee surgery after my sophomore year. I have to thank T-Bone, Terry Gernhardt, and Dr. Lutz. Terry recommended to work on my knee. The mobility and agility I regained after that surgery my sophomore year was astounding, and it was one of those things I didn't even know I'd lost it until it was given back to me. Thank you, Terry, for taking care of all of us throughout our career, and Dr. Lutz for knowing exactly what I needed to take it to the next level. Last thing I can't leave out is the beautiful athletic facility that's been placed here to help the athletes of today excel. The Bruner Center is amazing, but there's definitely something to say about the sideways boards of old Memorial Gymnasium. Coach, we had that room rocking a few times. And even though I only missed this floor by 1 year, I truly wouldn't have traded it. My experience here at IC with the people I had around me for anything in the world. Again, thank you to all that helped me along the way, and thank you to Coach Worrell and the people I played with that made it all a success. Thank you.
You know, when I coached, I had an Ingram from Mount Sterling. I'd see the size of this young man, and I, of course, remember when he played. But at Ingram, I had was about 6 foot tall, or 5'10" or 11, you know. And now, I think there's some relation, but the one I had was a good boy too. Jan Pohlman, 82. Jan, I remember very well. She was one of our first. Well, it's not the first, but she was one of our early, really good athletes at Illinois College. One of the first stars for the Illinois College women's track and field program, Jan was a 4-year letter winner for the Lady Blues and captain of the team as a senior. She set school records in the discus, the javelin, and ran a leg of the 400-meter relay, which set a school record in 1980. Her throws in the javelin in 1980 and the discus in 1981 earned her the status of NCAA Division III Illinois State Champion. Jan comes from a family in Carrollton where the brothers came here and were good football players, and we are very fortunate, and I'm really happy that Jan is in the Illinois College Sports Hall of Fame. Jan, would you come forward?
You're not going to share the story? Okay. All right.
Okay. I had a story that, but I didn't tell.
And I'm glad he decided not to. A big thank you to Susie Engelbrecht and the Alumni and Development Office, correspondent Alex Keel, Coach Bill Maris, Athletic Director Mike Snyders. Believe me, it's truly an honor to be standing here this evening. Some of the best years of my life were spent here at Illinois College. It humbles me to think that I'm a part of such an elite group. In that elite group includes my brother Greg, who made it in for football and track, my brother Phil, who made it in for football and baseball, my brother Reggie, and two of my brothers from other mothers, Rick Bistry and Winston Rogers, that all made it in with the football team of 1978, one of the most successful teams that they had here, and they were all three instrumental in their team's success. Like I said, I'm going to spend my time this evening thanking those people that are responsible for me being here and played a role in my success. To the selection committee that made it possible, I thank you, each and every one of you. To Rick Bistry, a true friend of mine who nominated me and truly knows what it means for me to be here this evening. To all my former coaches, teammates, and opponents that pushed me to the limit, brought out the best that I could be. To our great educators here at Illinois College, our coaches, advisors that were so much part of our life, Bill Maris, Joe Brooks, Tom Rowland. Tonight it's not about me. It's about those responsible for me being here. I want to recognize some of those people here this evening, and I want to thank you for making the effort to be here. These are people that I consider my family, and if you would stand when I recognize or say your name, please. Rick and Sue Bistry. If you would stand, please. Winston Rogers, Neely Erickson Schlosser, Joe Alio, Mark Fresh, my teammate and a member of that 400-meter relay team, Joan Zarkobot-Kane, and her husband Brent, Sarah Schmidt, Joe and Janelle Ritter. Receiving this award is a great honor indeed, but the greatest honor I have ever had bestowed upon me is being a part of a great family. They are my life. They are the people that have had the greatest impact on me. They are the people that have been with me the longest. They're the ones that are always by my side. They're the ones I draw my strength from. They are the ones that I am most proud of. I want to recognize my parents, who are definitely the epitome of great parents, great teachers. We'll never know the extent of the sacrifices that they made, and we will be forever grateful. If my mom, Joan, would stand, she is the rock of this family. And I would like for the rest of my siblings and their children and their significant others to stand too, please. My sister Steph, my sister Kyle, brother Greg, Reg, Phil, all my nieces and nephews, all the significant others, please stand up to be recognized. This is my life. A little over 8 years ago, we lost our dad. We lost a husband in him, a grandpa, a son. A little over a year ago, we lost our brother Jim. He was a husband, he was a dad, he was a grandpa, he was a son, and it still cuts like a knife. But I know tonight they are shining down upon us They are shining down upon me. They are very proud of this honor. But more so for the fact that all of us are sitting here together, and may we always be. Tonight, I accept this award on behalf of my family, because this is just not about me, it's about us. Thank you.
Dickerson Range, 03. One of the best women's basketball players to compete for Illinois College, Dickerson Range was a 4-year starter and a 3-year captain for the Lady Blues. Range was named first team All Midwest Conference 3 times in her career and won the Hopper Award twice for Illinois College top female athletes, the same as the Downer Award. The Hopper Award was for the highest academic grade point average. She awarded Illinois College top female student athlete twice in her career. She ranks 4th all time in program history in career points, 1,227, 5th in assists, 300, and 7th in steals, 170. I remember this young woman playing basketball, and I always admired the way she played and recognized that she was an outstanding basketball player for Illinois College. Ada, would you come forward, please?
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start with the beginning of my basketball career, which was in 3rd grade at the YMCA League with a bunch of my friends, and I really didn't even know what the game was. I then began learning the game from Jerry Logan's fundamental camp, and Logue really is the god of girls basketball for Carthage, Illinois. And he instilled many quotes of fundamental basketball that I found myself reciting still in my career. Basketball quickly grew to become my life, and my real love came in 1992 because our high school girls team won state, and they actually won back-to-back. And so, my team went on to get third place my 7th grade year, and we won state my 8th grade year, actually right here at Route High School. The summer before high school, I was informed that I had a possibility to play varsity. However, I had to put some weight on. And so before our camp, every day my dad would wake me up, and at 5:30 in the morning, we would drink weight gainer shakes and go running and lifting weights. So in high school, I joined a family of 3 awesome coaches, Bill Lapp, Cy Hickenbottom, and Jeff Thorman. And it was through their many teachings that I really learned the game. Every summer was dedicated to the game, and it became my second family. I was very fortunate to play on a team that earned 2nd in state twice, my freshman and junior years. In my senior year, I was being recruited by a few places and went on some overnight visits. And ultimately, I was headed to Monmouth College until I came on my overnight visit. I found that Illinois College was definitely the fit for me. College is quite a lifestyle changer, as you know, and I couldn't have been more lucky to have the awesome teammates that I did. So the 3 that stick out in my mind every day, Bonnie, Becca, and Mary. Through our team work, we learned how to cope with preseason running, season running, Christmas break 3 days, which if the ball hit the floor then included puking and running, and then more running together. And so we often considered ourselves the track team. Some of the exciting things that happened for our basketball team was doing multiple water workouts in a freezing cold pool in the bottom of Memorial Gymnasium.
getting to referee the men's intramural basketball, Christmas break meals at the good old Cottage Cafe, wonderful bus trips passing time with euchre, and then, of course, getting hooked up with any new football or baseball recruit who came through by TR and J. Eckhouse. We also had the pleasure of having the key prime work spots in the athletic department, of which I got to work with Coach Maris all the time. In our time here, we traveled to play a tournament in Washington, D.C., which included President PFAO buying us dinner at the Hard Rock Cafe. We took a trip to Seattle, where we got to go to the top of the Space Needle. And what makes us the most special is that we were the very last class to play in Memorial Gymnasium. Most of all, my class of players became the best of friends on and off the court. So why has basketball, and importantly IC, been so important to me? I will start by saying basketball and sports in general have taught me how to work hard and achieve something and never give up. I feel that sports in general help shape a person into being a great worker. Illinois College helped me further the growth of my game. I quickly realized when I got here that I was out of position. I played center in high school, and when I got among my big man friends, found out that I was definitely not fit for that role. So it definitely allowed me to become the player that I'm actually standing here for. IC also benefited me because it allowed me to excel in academics as well as athletics. I actually currently still teach anatomy, and without the help of Dr. Chapman would not be where I am. It also provided me with many relationships, which still pop up all of the time. I actually currently have a student who recognized me as Ada Dickerson, her camp counselor at IC. My best friends today are my teammates that I met our first semester here, and I even met my husband here. I would first off like to thank IC for giving me the opportunity to become who I have become as a person. I'm sorry. I don't know why I had to get chosen when I was pregnant, because this just doesn't work out very well. Giving me the means for academic success and allowing me to find some of the best people in the whole entire world to include my life. Between my husband and I, we have the best groups of friends anyone could ask for. I would like to thank the committee for choosing me to join a very honorable list. And I would like to thank the many great coaches that have instilled not only basketball fundamentals, but life skills in me. And last but not least, I have to conclude by thanking my family for giving me a great life. My parents helped support basketball from the time I started. And they paid to send me to God knows how many camps, shootouts, and dedicated even our family vacations to Gus Macker weekends. My father was famous for 100 free throws after every practice, and my mom was famous for always getting a 3-second call from any referee on the other team. They followed with the team to summer camps, hauled numerous friends and fans, ran me to town all the time, and I never knew them to miss a game, including IC. My sister also became my biggest fan and was the best water girl you could find around. I know that I truly had one of the best support systems, and I think that's what's missing out of children today. And then I would also like to thank my husband, who's one of my biggest supporters. We met here, and we were even married here at IC. We have many memories built on this campus, some of which we can't mention. And he has given me 2.5 beautiful girls, of which provide me joy every day. And I can only hope that they grow to have the sports and, more importantly, life experiences that I have. And in closing, I want to thank the committee for this wonderful recognition, and I'm very truly grateful. Thank you.
Shad Steck, class of '99. A member of the Illinois College baseball team to win the Midwest Conference title in 1995, Shad Steck ended as one of the most decorated players in IC history. Steck was first team All-Midwest Conference 3 times and was named the 1997 Midwest Conference Player of the Year. He was also an honorable mention All-American that season as he set the IC single-season home run mark with 11, a mark that is still tied for first all-time. Steck remains the all-time leader in Blue Boy history for runs batted in. Would Chad please come forward?
First off, is Kristen Van Aken still around, or did she sneak off? Gone. There she is. Kristen, I got to thank you first, because when I walked in, you told me I got to talk tonight. So I may ramble a little bit, but thank you. Thank you to the committee for inducting me, and congratulations to my fellow nominations here tonight. I ended up at Illinois College on a very unique situation. I went to Quincy University on a scholarship first, and my best friend from high school was here, and I ended up here every weekend. And then Coach Isaacson was here, and he had coached me in Galesburg when I was 16 years old. So I was just used to the way that he had played, the way that he had coached the game. What's unique about that is that Coach Isaacson, his father was my father's coach. So I kind of knew how things were going to work. I was used to the terminology, the intensity, and what coaches were going to expect. So it kind of came full circle. Once I got done here, I ended up coaching baseball with Coach Ian Knox for 15 years. So it's kind of gone that way. Like I said, my best friend was here when I got here. By my junior year, I think if I count correctly, there were 7 other people from Galesburg, Illinois playing baseball here. So I had a real unique experience of, I played baseball in college with kids that I grew up with starting at about 12, 13 years old. So I don't know how many other people can say that. But it made it easy. The seniors when I got here, pretty interesting bunch. Rodney Flowers, Jake Sturdy. They accepted me, taught me some things about life in general that we can't really talk about here. While on campus with those guys, I met the guy that was my best man in my wedding, the guy that was a second in line in my wedding, who ended up passing away here 3 years ago from cancer. So I got to say hello to him while I'm up here. But the experiences on campus, some of them I can't tell you about because my sons are sitting over there. But when we get together with friends, they all come back. And like the other nominees have said, the time here, we cherished it all. My in-laws are here tonight, so thank you for coming, making the trip. I appreciate you guys and the support that you've given me and the kids and everything since then. My grandmother's here. She made a lot of the financial ability for me to come to school. She helped with that. My mom and dad, like one of the previous nominees, never missed a ball game. Some of that because my mom wanted to be in Florida every time we went. She'd like to stay there and wish we played all of our games there. But they made every ball game. So I very proud of that. And then obviously my dad, he taught me how to play the game of baseball. So half the reason that I'm standing here is because of him. The records that I had, the records that I shared, whatever it is, he taught me from an early age how to play the game the right way. I probably haven't told him enough, but thank you, Dad. I appreciate everything you've done for me. So, and to my wife out there, thank you. I love you. You've given me everything with the 2 boys. Thank you, guys.
Okay, the next speaker, I don't have a plaque for her, but I would like the current president of Illinois College, Barbara Farley, to please come up and say a few words.
Good evening. Bill, thank you very much. Coach Maris, so grateful for you, for serving as the MC this evening, and most of all, for your dedication to Illinois College. As a teacher, as a coach, as a mentor, as an ambassador for Illinois College, wherever you are in the world, you have touched so many lives, and we all want to thank you this evening. Thank you. What a wonderful evening. I want to congratulate the new inductees into the Hall of Fame. What a privilege to hear your stories, to learn about your experiences at Illinois College, to know more about your accomplishments and the people that you have touched along the way. How proud we all are of you. Proud this evening, proud that you are alumni of Illinois College. So thank you all, and thanks to your families and friends for being here. This is a terrific crowd, and the love in this room and the excitement for the inductees is palpable, and I'm just so pleased to be a part of this evening. I want to take a moment to thank all of the people who planned this event, the committee, the Hall of Fame committee, also the members of the Development and Alumni Relations team, our events team. It's been quite a group that's brought all of us together, so let's thank them as well.